Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sonic Comic Chaos. I am your host, SilverAce01. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, IanWaffles. Ian, would you like to tell the audience why you've dragged us here today?
How diddly do it I do? We're here to talk about IDW Sonic, the world's greatest Sonic the Hedgehog comic since the most way past loser comic, Archie, Sonic the Hedgehog. And today we're catching you up on all the issues that you abandoned. You used to have your channel used to be so cool when you used to review all these IDW Sonic issues. And then you got a thing called the brain, and you said this is not for me anymore. Well, I've trapped you in this room, and we're gonna finally catch you up on everything you missed.
Yep. So we're gonna go through it. It's gonna be a very loose discussion. We're not gonna recap the arcs. Normally in our other episodes talking about the Archie Sonic arcs, we break them down scene by scene, and we talk about those scenes. We talk about the story as a whole, and we kind of let that drive the podcast. But I want to go home, so we're not doing. I miss my wife. I mean, that's kind of unrelated to this. She left me, but anyway, that's unrelated to this. But still.
Indeed.
We're not doing no. So we're just gonna talk about it. I assume if you're watching this, you've read the issues. If you haven't, I appreciate you tuning into this. Hopefully, you'll still enjoy it. My suffering, but so throughout this, we're gonna be pretty mean to IDW, and I know for a lot of IDW fans, that's probably gonna be pretty hard to sit through. And so by all means, don't. It does suck sometimes hearing people tear apart something you love. But also, by all means, I would love to hear from you in the comments why you love IDW. I'd love to engage with you. So please, by all means.
You would love to be engaged to you.
No, Ian. Let's just hop right into this. Ian, do you have anywhere in particular you'd like to start with talking about this comic?
Well, I just want to recap. So when you last left off, where were we at as far as where, like, people who are watching you? What was the last video and what was the last kind of like section of the comic?
So when I last left this series, it was issues 38 and 39 were the last review I did. It was, I don't remember what the arc was called, but they went to a stupid island and they went into a stupid like virtual reality world where Eggman was like, this is where I test my robots.
Yeah.
And I was 3/4 of the way through that arc, and then college and also my inability to care about this comic caught up with me, and I stopped reviewing them.
Gotcha.
So I figured we would. I figured just so we could have a bit more of a comprehensive discussion. However, that we would widen the scope, probably just all IDW, to be frank. But like mainly focusing on like post Zombot stuff. So. A little bit of characterization because that was where we saw a big shift in the book.
Yeah, because Evan Stanley came on.
Oh yeah, she did. And so yeah, so that was where I was going because I hadn't even read. I had not. It wasn't that I just stopped reviewing. I stopped reading the book. After that, so yeah, I have not read the book. I've seen stuff about the book on Twitter. I've heard you, Ian, talk about the book. But I have not read it myself since then, so I had to read all that to get prepared for this, including Imposter Syndrome, and I skimmed back through Bad Guys, and it's not great. It sure
so do you
is.
want me to start us off on a topic then?
Sure.
Okay. So first, I think what we can do is kind of try to assess, like, so Evan Stanley, new writer, or the new head writer. She's written a little bit of back in Reboot. She wrote the Silver Age arc. And she's been an artist for a while. So now she's the head writer of the comic once we leave issue 51, I believe. And so we've kind of gotten a taste of like her direction and her kind of writing style and like how she goes about things with Badnik bases and chow races or whatever. And then the little artificial reality story, and then the camping story. And I gotta say, not a fan.
Yeah, nope.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Evan Stanley, I actually was aware of her work before I had read this. Obviously, she wrote Silver Age, but I think even before that, she had a webcomic called Ghosts of the Future.
Yes.
Have you ever read any of that?
Never read it, but I've like people will mention it online. So like, yeah, could you give me a rundown of what it is? Because I don't really know who exactly it was about.
The best way I could really describe it is it's been years since I read it. I want to go back and reread it, but a busy guy. But so basically it's in the future and it focuses on silver. So if you need the three guesses why I like it. It focuses on silver. And there's like this I'm gonna butcher it and I'm sorry, but like there's like a prophecy that like the chaos force or the chaos emeralds are gonna go out of whack, and so they need to gather all of them. Um and Sonic was killed 200 years ago in a fight with Robotnik, and he becomes like a chaos entity that they just refer to as a ghost for simplicity's sake. And
Okay.
so him and Shadow for 200 years now, because Shadow's immortal and Sonic's the ghost thing, have just kind of been going around and looking for the person who can help them with the chaos stuff, help them get the chaos emeralds. And this person is Silver. And so the comic is largely about Silver learning to master his powers. And, it's got a lot of really interesting stuff because, like, so we essentially find out that the chaos entity, which Sonic is, Tikal is one of those. She's like, that's what she is. And so her and Sonic have like a little romance in it, and it's really cute.
I was gonna say all this sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, and like Silver and like Blaze is in it, and she plays a big part because they do the whole Blaze being from the future instead of her being from an alternate dimension thing. And her and Silver's dynamic is really fun, and they do like a little romance there. And it has hands down the best version of Scourge ever.
Okay.
So I was thinking about this the other day, and I pulled up the page that like really solidifies this version of Scourge as like my personal favorite. I'm just gonna send it to you right now because I could describe it to you, but it's just better, and the page itself is pretty self-explanatory. So I'm just gonna send this to you on Twitter real quick.
Okay, interesting. So he's like a ghost boy?
Yes, he is also a ghost like Sonic is.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So it actually seems pretty cool. So then is her writing style in that any different than how it is now?
Again, we're talking about like maybe in like 4 years removed from having read it, but from what I remember, it's very different. Like, and obviously, it's a very different story. It's a much more serious tone. Again, it begins with Sonic being murdered. So if that, so obviously, it's gonna be a bit different. But the way the characters are handled in that is a lot better. I can't think of a way to sugarcoat it. Because I think the problem that both of us have with her take on Sonic in the official comic is that he's a child.
Yeah, he's very wowie zowie. That's how I would describe him.
Yeah, and in that he's he's still Sonic. He's still recognizable as Sonic, but obviously he's had a lot more experience, and so he's he's more serious, but he's still recognizable as the character we know and love. And I think that's really getting to the heart of it. I think that's the big problem that this comic has, is that all of the ways the characters are acting would be completely fine if they were wholly new versions of the characters. They're not. These are characters who are essentially in the game continuity. They have years of baggage, years of stories. They've learned lessons. They've been on adventures. They've grown. And the comic acknowledges that those events happened, but doesn't acknowledge the way the characters were affected by those events.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, Sonic's the way he is in and I mean I'm sure we'll get to this the big hot topic going about Sonic currently, but like that and like the way he is with Evan Stanley writing him would be fine if we're talking about if it were movie Sonic, like who's like he's a new character, he's fresh, doesn't have any of that baggage, but he's not. He's the Sonic from the games, and he's not acting like it.
Yeah.
I think the big problem with all the characterizations. Because I think if you took all these as like clean slate characterizations, I think Shadow being a dick works completely fine. I think Sonic being like, overly like energetic and wowie zowie, as you said, I think that works completely fine. And I mean, those are two of the biggest problem ones. I don't think any of the other characters really have that big of an issue. But because we're and I think I said this for those of you who haven't heard, yep, there go my neighbors setting off those fireworks. Uh in the Archie Sonic IDW versus IDW Sonic discussion we did a while ago, I said the problem with, because in Child Races and Batting Faces, Evan Stanley tries to kind of throw a bone to people who have been complaining about Shadow's characterization by essentially having him go through like a mini arc in that story of him being like, I don't care about the lodge getting buried by an avalanche, and then he gets to talking to you from Rouge, and he's like, you know what, maybe I do care about not letting people die. He's already learned that lesson, though, is the problem. Like he had a 3-game arc, 4 games if you count 06, of finding himself, realizing he's a hero, realizing he wants to fight to protect people. He's been through that already. And so the way he's characterized there simply doesn't work. And I remember, and Ian, you and I were talking about this off mic. The way Shadow is characterized, for a while, it was like, oh, well, there's mandates. But even with the mandates, you could do something with him, and you could, it doesn't have to be as egregious as it is. And you actually had an idea that I really liked. And so, would you want to? I don't want to. I fear it's better to let you say it yourself.
Well,
so, would you want to?
Was it in regards to the lodge incident thing?
It was the idea you had about Shadow for the Zombot arc.
Oh yeah. I to first piggyback off what you said. Yeah, I totally don't give any slack to this idea of like, oh man, they have these mandates. So I mean, can you blame them if the character's bad? It's like, yeah, obviously you can, because they could just write them in a way that would work. Like, for example, with the unless they come out and say like even this, this kind of idea wouldn't work. But if you have to have Shadow, like not want to immediately save all the people, just don't have him say like, all the people, I gotta make a choice between their lives and other lives. No, just instead have him be like, you take care of the lodge, I'm gonna go after Starline, he's a bigger threat. And then Sonic can be like, well, bigger threat or not, I think I think we should prioritize the people's lives. That's up to you. And then he follows. It's like, that's all you have to do. I would assume if he's like this, if they're like, oh, he's, he doesn't work well with people, blah, 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 blah. I would assume they're not saying he's a villain. So just have him in his head. He thinks, oh, the way you save the day is you go after the biggest threat or whatever. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, the biggest threat right now is the avalanche. Come help. He makes that decision. And then, Sonic can be like, hey, you really do have a heart, don't you, buddy? And it's like, huh, the avalanche was the bigger threat, blah, blah, blah. Like anything. But instead, the problem I consistently find with Evan and Flynn whenever they write these characters is they're just like, they put them in situations where it's like, yeah, that makes sense, or that could be reasonable. And then they just have them say like the worst possible thing you could say. So
yep.
And it's like, it's like their Shadow's actions can be selfish or, hot-headed or whatever, leaning into what we're going to talk about with the Zombot. So for example, Shadow not wanting to work together with people or blah, blah, blah. And my idea for it was always that, why don't you lean into this idea that like Shadow's supposed to be the ultimate life form. He was supposed to be designed to cure, Maria's disease or whatever. And you lean into that and you have it be that he is either immune to the Zombot virus, or just like Sonic, he can run it off. And the idea would be that while Sonic, in my version anyway, Shadow would be immune to it. Or if Sega says no, he wouldn't be immune to it, then you just have him be smart and not get, defeated. Like he is actually very strong, or for example, he uses his Chaos Spear to keep people away instead of punching them, or he does Chaos Blast, or he, kicks them with his shoes, which, or just anything. Or I guess his shoes would count because they can infect clothing, whatever. Regardless, that's what you do. And then what would happen is Sonic would be the one who has this time limit, and he's the one who's kind of being like, no, we're not going to kill Eggman. We're going to keep him alive, and we're going to save the day. And Shadow's the one who's like, I'm going to save the day, and when I get a chance, I'm killing Eggman. And so you have these two rivals of how they're going to save the day and what the right way to go about it is. and then by the end of it, you could have Shadow either come around or he has to make a decision or whatever. But that would be better to me than like having this challenge for Sonic. And again, if this is the idea that Shadow's confrontational or whatever, then make that confrontationalness come about from the fact that he is a hero. Unless Saga is specifically saying he is like an anti-villain, where it's like he'll help people, but he's like he's a jerk or something. I don't know. Like unless they're saying that, then he's clearly a good person as far as I can tell. So then just have that be the overriding mentality. Is that sure, he's an asshole. Sure, he doesn't work together with people, but ultimately he wants to help people. He's a hero. So, and that's what I ultimately find so confusing is just like, why don't you just lean into that? So,
yeah. Well, and what sucks is that their solution has been like, again, like you hit the nail on the head. They put them in these situations, then they have them say the worst thing possible. And then it seems like their solution is just like, well, we'll just not put Shadow in the book then, which sucks because like people like Shadow. I like Shadow. I want to see Shadow and stuff.
Yeah.
But so they're like, well, like, I don't know. It just feels like such this weird, like, I don't know. It's just,
feels
and then, like,
very defeatist.
Right? Like, that's the thing. It's like, well, I guess I'll just not have Shadow in the book then. Like, which I do wonder if that's gonna change around when the third movie comes out. Because
I think at that point, Sonic Team might be like, "You'd better be putting Shadow in the book."
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's gonna be in like.
Although to be fair, Knuckles didn't see an increase in the book when the second movie came out.
Yeah, that's Knuckles though.
You say that, but Knuckles, the big problem with him is he just hasn't been in the book. And it's like he's one of the main guys, and he's not in the book ever.
He's not Shadow though.
Maybe.
I mark my words. Mark my words. At least if Shadow isn't a secret playable character in Frontiers, which I haven't ruled that out yet, he will 100% get a massive push in whatever when that third movie comes out.
I hope so. I want to see people try to write him. But yeah, no, and that's kind of all I have to say about Shadow in general. Like, he doesn't really, unless I'm remembering incorrectly, after the Chow Racist story, he doesn't really show up or do anything, right?
Nope.
Yeah, he's just been gone, and his arc has been, maybe I will be # a bit nicer. So yeah, and then of course, there's really nothing to talk about with. Okay, so this kind of goes into a big problem. Like, so with everything you've read and just kind of with the series in general, especially post Metal Virus, do you have like anything to say about any of the Sonic characters, like from the games? Have any of them stuck out to you, or like had a moment, or like done literally anything where you're like, wow, I'm glad this character's here?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
If we're not counting Eggman, because Eggman is great.
Yeah.
Vector actually has a really nice moment in I don't remember which issue, where it's the issue where the Chaotix go and they save Belle from Dr. Starline. It's there's the moment where she's like crying, or well, actually it's weird because she can cry, which raises a lot of questions, but we're not going to get into that right now. But she's distraught, and they begin it with a joke of him being like, because she's like, and it's a weird line from her where she goes like, he broke my heart, Anakin, you're breaking my heart. Anyway, so, and Vector goes, well, I mean, maybe Tails could fix that. But then after that, he's like genuinely like, goes to comfort her, and it's a really sweet scene. It's drawn really well. And
I remember that scene. I remember liking that too. So what we have is Vector has one nice scene where he is kind to a person.
Yes,
which I like. But is that it? Because everybody else, I can't think of anything, because my main issue is that where it's all focused on the OCs.
Tails. In the Deadly Six arc, I like how Tails is kind of a little shit. It shows that he's been picking up some stuff from Sonic. I thought that was cool.
Okay.
There, he has the line where he goes like, I think he's fighting Zavok, and he goes like, no more tricks, and then Tails is like, oh, and then Zavok pins him. And he goes like, I guess back to tricks. Then he like electrocutes him or something. He has like a shit-eating grin. I thought that was fun. Other than that, like, it's really like the characters all range from like fine to like. I would say Amy is okay. um
Yeah, my big problem with Amy, I guess if we want to talk about her stuff, is just like she's just very boring. Like she's not even
yeah.
like girly girl anymore. She's just exists.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because they gave her the
She
role of
is
like,
generally nice to people.
well, they gave her the role of, oh, she's the leader of the restoration. But now that that's kind of done, it's like,
Which she never did
well,
anything with.
yeah, yes and no. They had I can really they had the cool scene of her like leading everyone into battle during Battle for Angel Island, and you had very
So the
surface level
first
stuff.
arc.
Well, that, and also you had the bit with her and it again, the problem with IDW is that these you have these glimpses of good ideas that quickly get like shoveled aside. So you have there's also the bit where in Metal Virus where she's talking to people through like her headset and she's trying to coordinate teams and everything just goes to shit all at once and she's just like destroyed and Sonic wants to go comfort her but then he like ends up walking away. It's like that's an interesting idea. You gonna do anything with that? No? Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's a big problem I have with the comic is a lot of it seems hinged on you already like these characters. Would you like to see them exist more?
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is that if that's what you're looking for, then you get it. You get it here. Like I said, with some things aside, like again, Shadow sucks. Sonic has quite a few problems, but it seems people are more split on him. But like overall, the rest of the cast is portrayed pretty okay. Like, and if you're just looking for that, and the artwork, again, if I can give the book a real, genuine, wholehearted compliment, the artwork is consistently wonderful.
Oh yeah.
And so if you're just looking to like watch the characters, do some like hang around and like fight some things and see it rendered well by these artists, like Adam Bryce Thomas, I think might be my favorite. Then you get it here. Like, and if that's what you're looking like, I mentioned this in a previous discussion we had. I said IDW Sonic and Archie Sonic are two completely different books for two completely different kinds of readers. And I think the problem is we're the Archie kinds of readers.
Mm-hmm.
Where, the Archie stuff, and I'm going to try and say this and not sound condescending. With Archie, it does do a lot more with the melodrama and a lot more with the interpersonal dynamics. And even in Reboot, which we've been reading, it's definitely not there as much. But there is still more there with the characters. And even the Sega characters do get more development. We see some interesting stuff with Shadow there. And even going back to Preboot, then you have like the romance drama, which like like that was a big draw to the book for me. Like I really like romance in my stories. And you add like the political stuff, and for certain kinds of readers that stuff is great, but certain other kinds of readers just want to see Sonic punch something, like, or go on fun adventures. And I think
and they won't get that in IDW either.
Well, that's the thing. As I was saying that, I realized the problem with what I was saying, and it's something we'll get into later. But for the for the
Sonic
most
hasn't
part,
even been in the book for like until now.
yeah, I did realize that too. But and maybe we can get into that in a sec. But if you're just looking for like simple fun, I get to watch the characters I like from the games, like fuck around, then IDW does that for you. And if you don't want to deal with like the bullshit that you have to like with like the homework of the hundreds of issues of Archie Sonic that there is, but then yeah, you hit the nail kind of on the head there, Ian, with the next problem, which is that the book. So I would say one of the best things we've seen from the book is that 30th anniversary special.
Oh yeah,
which is just a fun adventure with all the Sonic heroes, and they go and they team up with Eggman and they fight the Heavy King, and it's all good fun, right? And if the book just did that, if the book just wanted to do that, just be like fun one-off stories where we see like maybe Team Dark goes off to like fucking, I don't know, Alaska to chase down like a robot, and then they realize they get into some wacky shenanigans, or like Team Chaotix, they got to go investigate this thing, and you can have like a loose through line through it, and maybe you can have like a big fun thing for like milestone issues like issue 50 or issue 75 or whatever. But overall, it's like pretty disconnected, like one off. Like we're just going on fun adventures with the Sonic cast. I think that would probably be where the book would thrive the most. That's not what the book is, though. And
yeah, the book's about all these OCs who are hashtag relatable, and they feel feelings, and I'm supposed to care for some reason.
Well, I would argue that's not even the problem. I think the bigger problem is that, and I think we could segue this into talking about Sonic, because obviously issue 50 came out, and people are finally coming over to our side, Ian, of realizing that this version of Sonic is terrible.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised.
But so, they have the big scene where it's like Sonic lays out his whole philosophy, and it's so Ian, in I think it was our episode on Total Eclipse. This was prior to me catching up on IDW Sonic. You called Sonic in IDW either a sociopath or a psychopath. I don't remember which one. And I remember at the time thinking it was very funny, but also going like, well, he does suck. But I don't know if I'd go so far as to say he's a sociopath. Upon catching up on the series, he is 100% a fucking sociopath. Like, unquestionably so. Like, okay, so before even the issue 50 thing, you have the Deadly Six arc, right? And that arc has a number of problems, which we can get to, because I want to tear into the Deadly Six at one point. But so that arc ends with them rocketing the Deadly Six off to the Lost Hex, right? Now, you could simply not have this scene, right? You could have, because it doesn't really affect the rest of the book. You could just have them say, like, we beat them, but they retreated to a magic portal opened and they retreated to the Lost Hex, right? Or literally anything, or just have Sonic say, like, we kicked their butts all the way back to the Lost Hex, like, or literally anything. But the book literally stops to have Zavok look at Sonic and go, your actions are hurting people. I will come back and I will hurt more people because you are just letting me go away to my home. And Sonic goes, what? Let me pull the actual quote. Let me pull the actual quote because I have it right here.
Well, and also I was gonna say real quick, the thing is, if Sonic, even if you had to have that scene, if Sonic had just said like, I'd like to see you try, like that would be a lot better than what he actually says.
Which what he actually says is, but I'm not going to sacrifice my principles out of fear. You want to cause more trouble? Fine, waste your time. I'll kick your butt every time.
Come back and kill more people. I don't care, because eventually I'll stop you, and that means everything is okay.
Yeah, Ian, you actually told me before we started recording, Flynn did confirm when the Deadly Six in that arc are tearing up those towns, they are killing people. Like, people died.
And it seems very obvious to just in it, because like there's a scene where like they're like shooting a bunch of people from the skies, and then there's one where it's like the fat one, he's like, you don't just consume, you consume all, and then he runs around. It's like, so yeah, he's gonna eat people. But yeah, my friend sent me a link to which one, so that we know, that we're correct or whatever, and that it exists. It's in Bumblecast, June 28th, 2021. In that one, at a certain point, he answers that question and says that yes, the Zeddy were killing people. Which, I mean, yeah, I already assumed, but
Yeah, and
now
so
it's 100% confirmed.
And so again, Zavok broke out of prison in Sonic Bad Guys. Why is he not? And it's this weird dichotomy that's come from this debate where it's like, oh, so you just want Sonic to kill people then? It's like, if only there was like this middle ground, between letting a murderer go free and executing them. If only we as a society had advanced to the point where we could come up with a solution where we could keep a bad person from hurting people without executing that. If only we had figured something out, maybe like in the shape of a guitar for some reason in the comics. If only, but never. Nope, it doesn't exist. Like
well, and the defense I've seen for this. So obviously for those who are, maybe they're just like, they just want to hear a Sonic conflict. It's like, so what we're saying is put them in jail. So it's like, well, here's the thing. What people will say, right, is they'll say, well, if you do that, they're just going to break out anyway, and then they'll be more emboldened to cause problems. And I'm like, yeah. So basically, what you're saying is, put the killer in prison, and if they escape, they will kill more people, or let the killer go free and kill more people on their own time. Well, I mean, it's going to happen anyway, so you might as well just let them kill people normally. It's like, what are you talking about? And also, even if that's not what you mean, let's take the most generous approach and say what they mean is, let's say they're going to kill 50 people. Zawak's going to kill 50 people today. If we arrest him, he's going to like be really upset about it. So he's going to kill 100 people. So it's like, oh, you don't want to tick him off. You don't want to make the terrorist angry. Like, we just got to kowtow to him. That's the other part to it is like, okay, let's say you're thinking pure math numbers or whatever. And it's like, oh, it'll be 50 if it's normal killing, but if he's angry killing, it'll be 100. So don't put him in jail. What a defeatist mindset. Oh man, our prison systems are so bad. He's just gonna get out anyway. Just let him go free. And it's like, okay. And then what do we do in the meantime? Well, Sonic doesn't kill them, and therefore maybe one day the Sega mandated characters will be good. Maybe one day they'll be able to like apologize or something. And it's like, no, this is insanity. Even if not from a meta perspective, in universe, what a awful thing to believe of just like, yeah, I mean, our prison systems suck. They're just going to escape no matter what. So like, why even bother trying to stop bad people? Let's just hope for the best.
And to the comments, because I know there are people who are going to hear this and go, guys, it's a Sonic the Hedgehog comic book. Why are you bringing up terrorists? And the problem is, I agree with you. The problem is the book is bringing up these problems that it is not equipped.
It's bringing up these philosophical ideas and these moral conundrums.
Like again, if the book, if the book was just happy, fun adventures with Sonic and friends, we wouldn't have this problem. Like at the end of every game, Eggman flies off into a thing, and we don't go like, oh man, why didn't Sonic go find him and put him in prison? No, it's whatever. But like, it's the fact that we have to we bring the book to a grinding halt to have Sonic get on his soapbox and talk about his philosophy for how he lives his life. That makes this a problem.
Is bad.
And it's so obviously you have the bit with Zavok, which is horrible, but then you have the bit with Surge, which is, and I'm not exaggerating here, probably one of the worst moments I have ever seen from this character in any form of media. Like, holy fuck. So Surge, right? This poor girl was either abducted or abandoned by her family or friends or whatever. Been experimented on, has no memory of her past, and that was all. The only reason that the person who did that to her had the opportunity to do that to her is because Sonic let these people roam free for as long as he has. And so Sonic, being confronted with the consequences of his actions, then tells this person, well, but like freedom though. And
yeah, he mentions that if he took, because again, I don't even think Sonic should kill, but the problem is that he says this, like that he's talking about it. So okay, let's hear his philosophy. So he says to the effect of like, well, I love freedom and adventure, and I want everyone to be able to experience that. So if I killed people, or killed you in this instance, you would never get to experience that. And then she's like, even the doctors? And he's like, even them. Sonic, what are you talking about? Let's say Starline and Eggman come to us one day and they say, we're sorry, and we're gonna say like a box of chocolates. And they let's say they rebuild the planet. Let's say they do that too. They never gonna happen scenario, but let's say it happens. Best case scenario. Yeah, they do all that. They should still get life in prison. What are you talking about? And that's the psychopath part of it. Of like, he's saying like, oh man, I just want them to have a happy, breezy life too. And again, if you go back to the Zavok story, this includes the idea of if we come back and we kill a bunch of people, he will sacrifice the lives of those people for the sake of his moral philosophy of not killing. And again, I don't want Sonic to kill, but he's mentioning it. He's talking about it and saying, this is the reason I won't kill, because I want murderers to be able to live a happy life and be able to exist and have freedoms and stuff. And even if people die, even if they suffer, even if Cream has to watch your mom get turned into a zombie, yourself, have nightmares, I'll do it again and again because in the end, I'll save the day and everything will be fixed, which it's not fixed. So have people forgotten that this comic takes place post Sonic Forces?
I think
and that 99% of the planet is fucking destroyed.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Is that this Sonic treats this Eggman like Boom Eggman when he's not. Like, this Eggman has a body count. Like, he's probably, like, I would say, like, maybe with what happened with the metal virus, he might be worse than Archie Eggman. Like, and the philosophy, and Sonic still goes, oh, that egghead. Like what are you, like,
I hope for the best.
Yeah, it's insanity.
It's like, no, well, and here's the thing, even if we take away this argument, isn't it just kind of weird that he has like no ill will towards Eggman for anything he's done? Again, I don't care if it's like against him, like whatever. If he's not offended that, he's been tortured for months or whatever it was. I know it's a mistranslation, but it's in the game, so it's in the game. Whatever. Let's say Sonic doesn't care about anything Eggman does to him. But Sonic doesn't seem to care about all the bad stuff that happens to other people, like his friends, and he doesn't hold that against Eggman. I don't think that makes you a good person.
Yeah. Well,
like,
and
I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. People generally appreciate people who it's like they can turn the other cheek or whatever for themselves, because most people are inherently, I don't even mean this in a bad way, but most people are inherently selfish. If you get hurt, you kind of want to get your either revenge, or you want the comeuppance, or you want payback, or you want justice or whatever. And Sonic doesn't even seem to want justice.
Yeah, no. Hey,
because in his head, he'll take care of it, which I remind you, in the IDW comic, Sonic has not accomplished a single fucking thing without help.
Nope. Well, that's and that's the weird thing too, is that like this, so say what you will about like, this version of Sonic, but I feel like my biggest problem is that he just doesn't act like a person. And that was my big problem with the Metal Virus arc. Because my thing is like, because I was never, so back then, my argument was never like, he should have killed Eggman, or he should have killed Mr. Tinker in Windmill Village. My argument was that he didn't seem to feel bad about his part in allowing the Metal Virus to take place. Like, even if you make the argument, like, his philosophy is that he doesn't kill, and, he doesn't, he wouldn't want to kill Eggman. He especially wouldn't want to kill Eggman when he's Mr. Tinker. He's never like, damn, like, is this my fault? Like, did I do this? Like he never acts like the way a person would in this situation.
Well, and the problem is he does have one moment, which is like whenever he's talking to, or whenever like Eggman, like he tries to convince Eggman to be good when they're above like the zombies or whatever. And they have the cringy dialogue of like, your ways are different and mine's yours is evil and mine's not. But anyway, there's like a moment where he's like, this is all my fault or something. He's like, Eggman is making me pay for my decision, and he's been making me pay for it every day. And it's like, okay, so we're going somewhere with this. But then the very next issue, he has like SBO calls him out for it too. And then we meet up with Tangle, and he's like, oh, this is all my fault. And then Tangle's like, nah, bro, it ain't your fault. And just like absolves him of all responsibility.
Well, and that's the thing, right? And that's the thing, right? Is the problem is the book. So it'd be one thing with Sonic just thought this, and maybe it was like an arc for him to learn, like, well, maybe there is somewhere in between. The book agrees with him, though, is the problem. Like, the meta of the comic agrees with Sonic's philosophy. Because every time a character calls him out and tells him he's wrong, that character is portrayed as being a jerk or being like manic. Like so we have, well, I mean, I could pull up the picture. I screenshotted it again. They literally do like a montage of all the times people tell Sonic he's an asshole. Oh, damn it. Did I? Okay, I hope I have the whole thing. Okay, yeah. So the characters who tell Sonic that his philosophy is wrong are Shadow, who is notoriously in this comic portrayed as an idiot who acts purely out of anger at all times. Espio, when he's wrought with grief after losing his family. They show Metal Sonic for some reason. I don't know. Oh, because and Eggman, and then in this scene, Zavok. So at no point is an opposing viewpoint given any sort of weight next to Sonic's. Is the big problem. And even if you wanted to throw all that away, he's the protagonist. So like you're supposed to root for him and for his ideals. Like I don't know. I just
well, it's interesting too because it's like Sonic has had these same moments in Pre-Boot. Like there's the scene where he's they bring Eggman back, like whenever he makes him go insane and he has pity for Eggman, but it's never portrayed as like he deserves pity. The whole time he's like, bro, I don't know why I feel this way. I just feel bad for breaking this dude's mind. I know he's an awful person. I know he doesn't deserve any sympathy, but I just feel bad, you know? And Tails is like, no, I don't think he deserves any sympathy, but I can understand if you feel bad and, you know, you don't, maybe you feel like you went too far. And he's like, yeah, maybe it's that. And it's like, he's not like making a definitive statement about like, we should pity Eggman. And nobody else feels this way. It's just Sonic. And of course he does. He watched a man go insane right in front of him and he was the cause of it. So of course he's just kind of like, I don't know, this kind of feels weird.
Yeah, and like, and I feel like so and the big reason, right? And it's not so putting all that aside, right? The reason I feel like that scene with Sonic and Surge is so awful. And the reason I said it's probably the worst scene I've ever seen from this character is that Surge is a victim, and Sonic does not treat her like a victim. He does not apologize. He does not try and talk her down. He simply said he essentially goes like, yeah,
like,
I'll
get over it.
Yeah, right. Like, so someone said on Twitter said this, and they said it better than I ever could. So I screenshot it. So let me find it real quick.
And real quick, just in case people don't remember, because I also misremembered, because I was going to originally defend Sonic on this when I was seeing people complain about it. I'm like, well, he doesn't know their backstory. But I'm like, oh no, she tells him like, Starline and Eggman ruined my life. Regardless of anything she says after that, that's all you need to hear, you know?
Yeah. So Ray at Pink Raz Star on Twitter said this really well. My biggest problem is how condescending he comes off as. It was fine with Metal, but Surge, she tells you she's a victim because of your actions, and he says, I'm willing to forgive you. Like, that's
right.
Like, if they had like a Merlina style scene, right? Where like Sonic or okay, I'm gonna rewrite the scene for you right now. They're fighting, right? Sonic goes, why are you doing this? Let's say we move the explanation of her character later. He just thinks this is some crazy woman with lightning powers coming to kill him. They start fighting. Later on, he goes, why are you doing this? She gives her backstory. And then Sonic pulls a house of cards and goes, okay, then beat the crap out of me. And she goes, and then so she does. She gets some licks in, and eventually she's like, well, like, why won't you fight back? And he gives like a Merlina style thing of like, I'm sorry that happened to you, and I wish it didn't, and I wish bad people didn't exist, but I don't want to kill people, and I try my best, and I don't always do the best I can, but I always try, and I'm sorry, and I want to help you. There we go.
Yeah, just anything, really.
And I'm not trying, and by the way, that is not me trying to go like, I'm a better writer than Ian Flynn, because like, no, whatever. Like, I'm sure that has its own problems, but like, at least Sonic doesn't come off like a sociopath, like completely disregarding another person's feelings, and it's just God, I fucking hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and then to follow up, as a good comparison to that is like later, whenever he arrests when they arrest Eggman, Monkey Kong, who is someone who has been tortured by Eggman, who Eggman killed his entire family, who ruined his life, he comes in and he's like, Sonic, literally how can you show that man mercy? He's one of the evilest people on the planet. He's tried to take everything from you. He's taken everything from me. how is it possible that you could show him even a shred of mercy? And Sonic is just, he doesn't say like, well, I believe everyone deserves good, or, you know, I like to blah, blah, blah. He says, I don't know. I guess I just moved too fast to feel all vengeful and stuff. I just do what's right at the time. Which is just him being like, I don't know, bro. I just didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
And Monkey Khan isn't made to look like the bad guy. He's not made to look like an idiot. What he says is, you are either a Zen master or you're a fool. But either way, you're impressive. So he's basically just saying something about you isn't normal, but not in like a wow, you're so inspiring. Just more like, you're either like a complete, like, just like you don't feel anger, or you're an idiot. But either way, good for you.
Yeah,
and that's way more. That's that's way more neutral. It comes across less like condescending and like mean to Monkey Khan. And Sonic, again, he's not even making a statement. It's not like Monkey Khan's like, I'm gonna kill the doctor, because he's just in a prison cell right now. And Sally already convinced him not to kill him because they're gonna use him as a bargaining chip. And he has a crush on her. So, but you know, like, it's not like, so there's no stakes there. It's just him asking Sonic, how can you feel this way? And Sonic is just like, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just how I live. I don't feel like it right now. And then the best part is that later when Eggman returns, whenever he escapes or whatever, the very next issue, Sonic is every day he's going to the Egg Dome trying to find Eggman so that he can't come back. Like, he's hunting him down, trying to make sure he doesn't come back. And then when he does return and he says his big plan about like nuking everybody, the first thing he says is, I never should have shown you a shred of mercy. So it's like, Sonic doesn't have like this like moral code. He's just going by how he feels at the time, and it's not made to put other people down or make them look bad. Whereas this is the exact opposite.
Yeah, he's preaching this moral code, and this code is insane. First of all, and second of all, again, it's just like, just be a person. Like, just please, just be a person. Like, and this Sonic just refuses to be a person. But so, and I remember, so before issue 50 came out, and that became the big talking point around this being Sonic's philosophy. This page was Zavok showing all the time Sonic's been told he's an asshole for not killing Eggman or letting Eggman go or whatever. I remember thinking, you know, you could do something with this. You don't have to make Sonic be okay with killing or whatever. But you remember, Ian, one of our favorite scenes in Preboot is the scene after Antoine gets bombed, Sally's been turned into a robot, Rotor's a congressman or whatever. Sonic's just sitting on his bed. I think he's got his guitar, and he's remembering a line Scourge said, where it's like, you're one bad day away from becoming me. And it takes his friends coming in and saying like, hey, get off your ass. Like, you're good. Like, you know, we've had some bad times, but like, we're going to be okay. And you're better than this. So, crazy idea. How about with this? You have a scene. It literally one scene. You don't need an issue. You don't need an arc. One scene where Sonic goes, Tails, is Zavok right? Like, is this wrong? And have Tails go like, and just have Tails reaffirm like why Sonic does what he does. But that doesn't happen. Sonic is only ever shown to be completely sure of himself. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like we could harp on Sonic forever. It probably is like the biggest problem this comic has, because like he's the protagonist and he ranges from being boring as a block of wood to infuriating. But so I feel like
it's crazy to me that his only character moments are always these awful, all of these ones. Yeah, because otherwise he's just like doing his thing. But it's like his like character moments, like these are like supposed to tell you something about him. There are always these awful moments. Yeah. So I'm like, why? Why is it always this?
Well, and it's weird, right? So in that 30th anniversary issue, right? I feel like I almost got a feeling of what IDW has been trying to go for with Sonic. So in the backup story with him taking his driver's test, right? I feel like that's what they're going for. Like, Sonic's just this lovable rogue, you know? Like, he's just kind of absent-minded and he doesn't realize what he's doing. That doesn't, but again, I feel like the biggest problem, right, is that the book is raising questions that it is not prepared to answer. Like, if like it doesn't need to be talking about any of this stuff, but it does, and it brings attention to these things, and then it doesn't have an answer for it, or the answer it has is horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like we've spoken a lot about Sonic's character. Do you have anything else to say before I move on to the next point?
No, that's about it. He's awful. It's probably one of my least favorite versions of him. Fleetway's the worst, but this is a second.
Oh, really? Fleetway's worse?
Yeah, just mostly because Fleetway's just consistently like either boring or terrible. Whereas like this version of Sonic, like when he's not annoying me, he just exists. Whereas like Fleetway's just perpetually annoying.
I see.
But I will say the highs of IDW's Sonic's like bad are higher than Fleetway's. Because Fleetway, I was never invested in that version of Sonic, so it didn't make me mad. But this version of Sonic, I'm like, I could see liking you, but you're an awful, awful person, and you insult me personally.
Yep.
So I don't like him.
So I figured next, I assume we won't spend as long talking about this. The Deadly Six fucking suck, and I'm tired of Sega trying to convince us that they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a whole arc, right? So the Deadly Six take over as the villains of the Zombot arc, right? And they're fine. You know, they're maybe if I went back and reread it, I would think like, no, they suck here too. And I mean, they did suck there, but like there was other stuff going on. Like they weren't the main focus of it. And then they get a whole arc devoted to them after the Zombot stuff, and they're just the worst. Like I think my problem, right, is that so like Zavok specifically, right? His characterization is like he's the evil guy, and like he has the line where the guy's tending to his wounds. And he goes, "Can I go help my friends now?" And Zavok goes, "No," and like fucking like hits him or whatever. So the problem is there is merit in having a villain who's just evil, right? Like not every villain needs a 27-page long backstory about how their parents were killed or whatever, and they want revenge, and they're secretly a tortured soft boy on the inside. But
yeah,
there's a couple.
I actually miss pure evil villains. I need more of them. So
right, and so, but there are a couple problems with this, right? One, we already have one of those. His name is Mephiles. Two, he looks like a fucking goober. Like,
yeah, their designs aren't very good.
Like Infinite, right? I really like Infinite, but I fully admit all of Infinite's appeal comes from the fact that he looks cool and he like has a cool voice and he says cool stuff. Like that's it. And with Zavok, the problem is I think Flynn wrote the Deadly Six arc, right? That was like his return to the book, I think.
Yeah. Is
that Flynn is trying to convince you that Zavok is so cool by just having him be cruel to people. Like his whole like like he just like, oh man, the Deadly Six are so fucking evil and they fucking kill people. Aren't they fucking rad and edgy, man? It's like, no, because they look like Monsters Inc. rejects. Like, first of all. But second of all, it's like, so their thing is that they're evil. Or I'm sorry, their thing is they're evil and one other thing. Like they're evil and hungry, or they're evil and like old, or they're evil and like emo.
And girl.
Yeah, and girl. Like, and so, oh my god, I feel like the bit they give Xena is maybe some of the worst dialogue I have read in a mainstream comic in a long time. I screenshot it because So this is the interaction. Xena's talking to Zik, I think is the old one. Then what happens when someone takes their stuff or picks a fight or whatever? They simply don't. They are kind and compassionate to each other. And then Xena says, gross. That's gross. I hate how gross that is.
Indeed.
Isn't she so hashtag relatable or whatever? Like, what do you... Anyway.
Very girl.
But so... Again,
my girl, I guess.
I think my big problem is right. Like they're not interesting. Like I don't like the thing is right. Like I don't want to be, because there are a lot of classic Sonic fans in this fandom often get a lot of flack for like you just hate anything that isn't classic Sonic, right? And I don't want to be like that for like my eras of Sonic. Like I don't want to be like that for the 2000s. I don't want to just reject anything from the 2010s out of hand just because it came from that era and because it's not like black and edgy and fucking like Shadow the Hedgehog or whatever. But I realized something. I'm not doing that. They just suck. Like,
Yeah, I was
they
gonna
are
say
just
I can give you some pretty like instantly easy reasons to argue that they're some of the worst villains in the comic. Would you
yeah.
like one of them?
Oh, please. I've been talking for a while. Take it away.
No, you're good. Here's the easiest one. So they come into the Zombot arc and are handed infinite power, with each of them getting a Chaos Emerald and also a free army. They walk in fully charged. They have to do literally nothing, and then we beat them. So tell me, what can they do afterwards? Again, remember, infinite power. Each of them has a Chaos Emerald. Infinite, a big giant army. What could they possibly do after that that could even slightly make them threatening, other than, you know, really, really hurting someone really close to Sonic, which isn't going to happen because these characters are impervious to that in any way that would be meaningful. So, again, they've already blown their load. They have done the worst thing they could possibly do, just spectacle-wise, which is walk into a place and take over the world, and then you still lost?
Yeah.
And then they
Yep.
return, and their plan is break into a building, and then Sonic and Tails just slap buttons on them and beat them.
Yep. Yep.
They can't do anything ever again.
Yeah. Nope. Nope.
And Flynn has done this consistently with Eggman. The first thing Eggman does in this comic is create the apocalypse. What else can he do?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I feel like you hit the nail on the head. The only thing you could do with them is make it really personal. Like, have them, because, like, again, they don't have cool designs to fall back on. They can't possibly top what they originally did. So all you could do is make it really personal. And it's weird because I went back and read the last thing I did for this was I went back and reread Bad Guys, because I already had read it, but it wasn't really clear. And Zavok in that isn't terrible.
No, I actually think he's one of the best parts of that arc.
Yeah, because
yeah, you can go ahead and talk about it, because I have a big complaint with that arc, but I'll let you talk first.
well, and I feel like like what they could have done with Zavok is play up like he's like a noble warrior, you know,
Yep.
like he has a team and he he cares about them, or maybe that's stronger, but like he's like that's his shtick. He's a noble warrior and he has this code that he lives by, and he even says to Starline where he's like you're needlessly cruel to your comrades. And he there's a line, and I don't have it here, where he like compares him to Eggman. He talks about like all the ways that like they're similar, and he goes like, actually, you're exactly like Eggman. Like Zavok in that is handled like pretty well.
Yeah, no, genuinely, I genuinely like him in that. In the thing you brought up to bounce off that is the part where like he's kind of like pretty cool with Rough and Tumble, like when they make like their stupid little thing that'll keep all their names. And then at the very end, he's just like they're kind of like cringe, and then like Zavok is like, no, that means they've grown camaraderie. You should be proud, Doctor. He doesn't like mock them, and he is actually impressed when they like come up with like a strategy to beat like the robot. And my big thing the whole time, I was like, oh man, this is really cool, because the problem with Mimic is that he's completely tied to Whisper, and his skill set are, and Flynn already outlined this, he turns into someone you might recognize, and then he gets one shot to like stab you. But after that, if he misses, which he's always going to miss because he's not going to be able to kill anybody, then you beat him. So he's worthless, basically. Got it. Cool. Yeah. That's great. So then you had him, so he's worthless. Rough and Tumble, they are terrible Mook villains because they never accomplish anything, and they never have interesting fights. And then you have Zavok, who he can do stuff, obviously, and then you have Starline. And so my whole thing that I was watching this, I'm like, oh, okay, I see where this is going to end up, is that Zavok is going to take in, because this is what we're doing. We're taking the lesser villains. We're going to tie them to the bigger villains. So Starline's going to take in Mimic, because there's a lot of things he could do with that. Oh, there's so many different things where he could plan around him, and they kind of had this decent, like, not banter, but like this whole thing of like Mimic would constantly be asking questions, and Starline would just like berate him. So they kind of have a back and forth. And then Zavok would take in Rough and Tumble, and they would be kind of like honorary Zeddy. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is how we're going to build up the world so that we have these characters actually being able to do something. And then at the very end, Rough and Tumble get like, poisoned or whatever. And Zavok's like, get up and fight. And they're like, bro, we got poisoned. Can you help us? He's like, no, you're stupid and lame. And then he leaves. I'm like, oh, great. Great. I'm great that we wasted that. Oh, what about Mimic? Mimic is the stupidest person to ever exist, by the way. His whole entire fucking plan is I'm on this little database so that when a robot sees me, he will know that is Mimic and to attack. Hey, fucking idiot. Even if it's not Mimic in the database, you're going to be like, hey, non-robot over there who Eggman wants to murder, so just kill him anyway. It doesn't matter. Oh my gosh, he's so fucking stupid. I hate him. So anyway, so there's that. But yeah, so by the end of it, I'm just like, why would you not end it with Zavok being like, you know what? You two are honorary Zeddy. I like you. And then he takes in Rough and Tumble. And that would give like a dynamic to where like you can have Rough and Tumble still be like the pointless mooks, but they're like getting stronger alongside Zavok because he's like the big strong dad or whatever who's like encouraging them to be better. And then you have Mimic and but no, they all have to separate, become their own stupid individual characters, and none of them fucking work on their own. So why wouldn't you combine the two? Ah, what was the point of bad guys? Ah!
Well, the point of bad guys was to show Starline's rise to power or whatever the fuck you said before we started recording.
We're Sonic Heroes powers.
Oh god, yeah, that was so. I mean, it's an interesting concept, but
yeah,
like,
I like it.
It's just, yeah, I don't know. Bad guys for me, I think bad guys is one of those weird things where I remember thinking like, oh, we're getting a comic book about the villains of Sonic. Sonic has great villains. All right, what do we got? And it's like, oh, four villains made up for this comic in Zavok.
Oops.
Great. Yep. Goddamn, my fucking neighbors and their goddamn fireworks. I hope that's not too annoying, audience. But yeah. The Deadly Six are terrible. And Bad Guys was a okay miniseries. I feel like was the point of
yeah, I thought it was enjoyable up until the ending where they took all the potential that the series had, and then they said, but we like it when it's bad. And they just got rid of it all.
Yeah. No, well, I feel like what they could have done is, yeah, so Starline goes on his own. He goes like, I don't need anyone. He said he's planning to dispose of the team anyway when they're done. So just have Zavok take, Rough and Tumble, and have heck Mimic too, and just have them be like the deadly like 4 or whatever. Like that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But no.
Because otherwise, what does Mimic do? His whole character is tied to Whisper.
Yeah. Well, man, I never knew this like burning hatred you had for Mimic until right now.
Oh, so dumb. What a stupid idiot. Does he not know how does he not understand that Eggman wants everyone to die, whether or not you're on his stupid list? Are you stupid?
Well, I guess the point of it was meant to be that Mimic was on like his priority list. And so he was taking himself off of that. But yeah, it's pretty dumb.
Would that affect how the robots find him?
Yeah.
How can you prioritize finding someone if you don't know where he is, which would not change anyway if they just accidentally found you and went, whoa, that's a guy we don't like. Sonic, I would assume, is on the priority list, and you know what doesn't happen? Robots can't get to him because they don't know where he is. Oh my, and Mimic he can transform to look like anybody. Are they stupid? Oh my gosh. If they had said like, oh, all of his robots have like some stupid heat scanner or whatever, and it's got his biosignature or whatever, fine. Then that would at least be like the idea of like he can't transform into someone, and therefore like because if any robot spots him, which oh my gosh, it doesn't matter because if they see anybody living, they're gonna want to kill you. Oh my gosh, what a stupid idiot.
Oh, this is great. So yeah, so that's I don't. Oh yeah, Deadly Six was how we got into that. But oh man,
I think I hate him more than Sonic.
Really? That's interesting. Okay.
Just because his whole existence makes me want to kill him.
So
Sonic, I want to like talk to him, and like maybe, be like, hey, like I want to like with Sonic, I want to have a debate and like say some zingers that make himself sound stupid. But like Mimic, I just want him to like die instantly.
Or make calm
by my hands.
You remember that one panel of Tangle and Whisper where it's meant to like convey motion? So it does the thing that comic books do, where like a character will be in 2 places at once to convey motion. Where Tangle is picking Mimic up and then slamming him back down, but it's drawn in such a way where it looks like she just rips his fucking arm off. Do you remember that?
I think so.
It's really funny. I brought special attention to it when I reviewed that issue, and I had a bunch of comments being like, "Oh God, yeah, it does look like she's just ripping his arm off." But
yeah, I don't have anything else to say about bad guys. I mean, do you have anything else to say about the Deadly Six? I just think their biggest problem is just, one, their designs aren't good. Two, their power sets don't make any sense with their design philosophy. Three, they're just not that interesting. And four, as far as IDW is concerned, they've already blown their load. They literally can't do anything else ever again.
Yeah, no, I feel like we've pretty thoroughly dissected them. So moving on from characters you hate. Before this, we realized that there was going to be a bit of disagreement here. So how do you feel about Belle, Ian?
I don't like Belle at all. The comic does literally nothing to make me want to care about her other than that she is a sad, depressed girl. And I'm sorry, that's not good enough when I don't have any reason to care about you.
I kind of like her.
Do tell, because maybe you'll bring up something and I'll be like, oh, that's what doesn't click or something. Because I don't really know how to describe it off the top of my head, but just nothing she's ever done has made me go, oh man, I like you. So yeah, go ahead.
I guess it's really just that her storyline with her father, or with Mr. Tinker. It feels like the one place where the comic is actually kind of trying.
Okay.
Because the rest of the book, it really just feels like it's put on autopilot. Like that entire camping arc is the most boring thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And just her arc with her father and like the note from Mr. Tinker. And I think part of it might also be me mourning the lost potential of Mr. Tinker. Because
yeah.
Like I thought, because like that was such an interesting concept of like a reformed Eggman and like waiting for the shoe to drop of like, when's he gonna remember and turn evil again? And they just immediately pulled the trigger on it, and but so I think part of it's that I think maybe it's just because like my bar for the comic is so low, and it's the one part of the comic that like is trying to get any sort of like emotion out of me. And so even if it's not necessarily great, even if it's a fairly basic plot line of just like Mr. Tinker built her and then now she's sad, like it's still more than what anything else is trying to do. And like I think the last time they had a character try and like have like genuine like an emotional journey was with Whisper and Tangle and Whisper. And I think that's probably the best this comic has done in terms of character work. And so I think this is just it's something. It's something. It's trying. Like, and I think, and like, yeah, that scene with her and Starline where she was, you know how you and me say Starline differently?
Yeah, is it not Starline?
I've always said Starline. I'm probably wrong, but I'm not changing now.
I don't care. He's dead.
He is dead. So, and you know that scene with her and him where she's like getting all mad at him, and he's like literally like he couldn't care less. And I think that was actually a really good moment from Starline as well, of him just totally disconnected and being like, oh man, look at these like robot brain waves. Fucking, I don't know. She's not like amazing or anything, but I think her arc, when compared to everything else in the book, I think it's something.
Well, then I don't think we disagree too bad. You're just more like, here you go, 10-year-old little boy. We'll put your C- on the wall, and we'll put the nice little sticker that you really like, and say, oh, you wrote a comprehensive sentence. Oh my gosh! And I'm over here just like, bro, you're 27. Get out of the house. Do you think this is a game? Do you think that I just pay for you to exist because I like you? I'm over it by now, buddy. Get out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, yes, we are grading on a curve, but I feel like there were like again, I think the moment with like the note, I think that was genuinely really good.
I like that scene. I just wish it connected to anything that could have been good. Because do you know how the Mr. Tinker thing, why it's kind of not worked out, is like the reason is that Flynn wrote it as just a framing device for why Eggman wasn't in the first arc. He never thought anyone would care about it that much. So like he had no plans for it.
Of course.
Yeah.
He wrote that whole song. Do you remember the song?
Yeah. So it's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, there was a lot of potential, but he kind of just wanted it as a framing device. And so the only thing you can do with Belle is retroactively, but I don't even agree with that. I think there's an easy thing you could have done, and this is what I was hoping would happen for a long time now that would make it interesting. Because I think my main problem with Belle is that she's like, oh no, my master, he's Eggman or whatever, and he's bad. I'm like, okay, who are you? Who cares? I didn't see you have any time with Mr. Tinker. So like it doesn't matter. And we only get that in that letter or whatever. So with her coming in and being like, oh man, my master, he's evil or whatever, but I remember him being a good guy. I thought what would be a great thing to do is play into that and have it be that, like, sure, Eggman's never going to turn good. He can't, which is, again, a crippling problem with this, the stories that we're trying to tell here in terms of, like, what our potential is. But what you could do is have it be that he has a soft spot for her in the same way that he has a soft spot for Metal Sonic, or he's Metal Sonic's like his boy, bro. And so it could be this idea of, like, in his heart, he still remembers Belle from the side of being Mr. Tinker. And so, sure, he's never going to, like, be good or anything, but, like, he can't bring himself to, like, destroy Belle. And if anything, he would prefer if she worked under him and was, like, part of his team. But he'll never try to, like, you could have moments where it's like, she's like, oh, you're not Mr. Tinker. And he'd be like, yes, I definitely am not. And, like, pulls out a giant, robot gun. He's in, like, a mech or something. And she's like, well, I don't care. I'll fight you tooth and nail. It's like, oh, really? Even if I destroy you? It's like, yes, of course. And then, like, he's just, like, he can't bring himself to shoot her. And it's not like he's, like, going to shed a tear or, like, get emotional. But he's just like, I respect my, I have to respect my own craftsmanship. And he's like, okay, you're free to go. Like, that kind of thing. Anything. Just to where, like, that dynamic could mean something. But instead, all of this led to was her go to Eggman the first time. And Eggman's like, lol, don't care. And she's like, no, I'm sad. And then later she goes to him and goes, hey, I'm over you. We're breaking up. And he goes, lol, don't care. So, like, yeah. She's talking to a wall.
Yeah, I've noticed a consistent through line with us where we're just begging the book to just do something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with me, well, like, so in issue 50, right, you have that bit with her fixing Metal Sonic, and then Metal Sonic activates and she's like, oh shit, why did I do that? That was really dumb. And then Metal defends her from the robot. I thought what we were gonna do was, we have this whole thing about, like, oh, we're redeeming robots, right? I thought, oh, we're gonna redeem Metal Sonic. Like, Metal Sonic's gonna join our side, and then him and Belle are gonna have we're gonna get like a cool, like, big brother little sister relationship with him and Belle, and, like, that's gonna be really interesting. No, I don't know why. I don't know why I ever allowed myself to believe that would happen.
Yeah, dude, that's what I thought too. I thought we were gonna do something interesting there. And we chose not to. Like, they team up for 5 seconds and then smash cut, they found Eggman. I'm like, yeah. Why? Why would you not do anything interesting?
Yeah, no, and the worst part, the worst part is, yeah, again, it's just there's, like, I agree with you completely. I think the thing is, like, just the stuff that bugs you about the stuff they do wrong with Belle just doesn't bug me as much. So yeah, I don't know. I think, by the way, so just really quick, they're totally gonna kill Belle, right?
No.
Really? You don't think so?
Do you think so?
What tarot card do you think Amy threw in the fire?
Do you think that's actual setup?
I 100% think that was set up.
Well, no. Sorry. I guess, do you mean you thought that was long-term setup? Because to me, I just thought that was, like, because they literally end up in a forest fire in that story. And she thinks, like, oh, it's my fault. I caused the forest fire. And then, like, they fall down a river. So no, I thought maybe it was that.
I think Amy pulled
but that is an Evan Stanley story. So if that's what that's leading to, that would be crazy.
I think Amy pulled the death card and was like, because, like, Amy, clearly whatever card she pulled, she did not want to tell Belle about.
Yeah, and we never saw it either, right?
We never see it.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like if it was the forest fire, they would have brought that around.
Yeah, no, I 100% think. No, or look, maybe they'll fake us out. Maybe they'll reveal Amy pulled the death card, but actually it'll work out. But, like, I've been calling since Belle's first appearance that they were going to kill her for shock value. Now,
that would be interesting.
Now, granted, I thought they were going to kill her the second she confronted Eggman. I thought she was going to go to Eggman, give a big passionate speech about how like you're still my father, and then to like show how evil he is, they were going to have him kill her. They didn't do that. But I still think, and maybe that's why they're having Sonic be so obtuse about like his moral code and about like giving Eggman so much leniency, is so that way when he kills Belle, you can have the moment where he's like, where he snaps on Eggman. Now, granted, that doesn't work because in this continuity, Emerald existed and he already killed Emerald, so I don't know why Belle would be any different, but whatever. But no, I would not be the least bit surprised. I mean, maybe now that Belle's become such a fan favorite, they would be like, maybe there would be like some interference from up above, like you're not going to kill her. But I think at the very least she was introduced with the plan of killing her.
Okay.
And I would not be surprised if they still do it.
Yeah, well, there's that, and then just as far as predictions for future characters, I am betting you that Surge's character is going to be that she does get redeemed, like she continues to do awful things, but eventually she does get redeemed, and that is going to be the comics' way of showing, like in real time, like Sonic's no kill policy works out. Again, just getting rid of all the nuance of why this blah blah blah, but which will be hilarious because it'd be like, see guys, it works out. Except obviously, for all the characters that we've been arguing, it wouldn't work out. The Sega characters, which will never turn good. But don't worry, see, it works. The system works.
Yeah. Well, and I think so I guess we should talk about that real quick. So Imposter Syndrome, Surge, and Kit, how do we feel about them?
They're boring. I don't care.
Yeah.
The problem with Surge is it's not her fault. She has all the qualities that should make her good, but she is, again, a character talking to a bunch of brick walls. We've talked about this, how the world building of IDW Sonic is trash, because, for example, when the world is at stake, it doesn't mean anything because we don't have any places worth protecting. So you can never have like something like Mobatropolis is under attack, or these freedom fighter groups we know are under attack, like places and people we know. So there's never going to be any like meaning to that. And so the problem is like, let's say Scourge, or not Scourge, let's say Surge becomes like super powerful. And like, cause I think that's what the solicits kind of talk about, is like, she's going to awaken a new ability and like be even angrier. Okay. So let's say she gets like the power to like nuke a city. Who cares?
Yeah. Yep.
Like what would that mean for anyone? Because like that Sonic will be upset that innocent people died? Yeah, right. And it's just like there's nothing that she could get this power and it mean anything, because she's not going to do anything to the main cast besides beat them up, I guess. So like she can't kill anybody. There's not going to be any threat to their life that's going to go that much further. And of course, I'm not saying they need to die or that you can only have stakes if people die. That's not the case, but they're never going to take it that far. She's going to just have to fight OCs and stuff like that. And again, even then, I just don't buy that it's going to mean anything, because she can get as strong as she wants. It doesn't matter. And then also she's working off Starline, who doesn't matter, or who like doesn't really listen or anything. She's working off Kit, who just does what she says. So, and then when she's talking to Sonic, she's just kind of yelling at a brick wall. So she has all this sass and all this personality, but it's going towards just people who don't care and nothing. Like, it's not getting under anybody's skin. Like, that's why Scourge was so much fun, is because in his first appearance, he's like, it's my birthday. For my birthday present, I'm going to go beat up Sonic, and I'm going to have fun with that. And then, like, he actually, like, hit Sonic and made Sonic, like, have to work and stuff. And, like, they had, like, a fun little back and forth. And when Sonic shows up, he gets really pissed off and, like, it gets under Sonic's skin. He, steals his girlfriend, all these things. So it made Scourge funny, because he was getting under Sonic's skin in these very petty ways, and he is an evil Sonic, so there's an inherent thing of like, yeah, this is like Sonic picking on himself. But with Surge, she's like, I'm so fucking cool, and Kit's just like, sure, I guess. And then like all the robots are like, we're dead, I guess. And Sonic's just like, hey, you want to hear about my philosophy? And she's like, I hate you, you're stupid. And he's just like, I mean, that's your opinion. And it's like, there's nothing fun to her. She doesn't get to do anything. So...
yeah, I more or less agree. I think she's
and I have no thoughts on Kit.
Yeah, Kit's whatever. Kit has potential. I will say Kit has potential. I think maybe they're setting up something with him and Tails, like maybe if they become like buddies and they work together, that could be cool. I don't know. I think I think they have a lot of potential. I just think they needed a better story, and I think there's a big problem. So the idea with like imposter syndrome was it was meant to take place like between like during the issues of IDW, but like they don't. It doesn't really mean anything. Like they just kind of go like, oh yeah, we did that. Like it's and like the characters don't like there isn't much. They don't do much is the thing. Like they don't do much with their characters. Like you get, and even then like you get the impression like yeah they're upset about the fact that like they don't remember their past and all that, but like there isn't like any much real like pathos there, and they're granted they could do more with that in the future, but the big problem with that is that this was their big debut. Like if you want to tell me why I need to care about these characters, you need to do it here, and they didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Man, so I think that might be it.
No, we haven't. We have one more person.
What?
It's Mr. Starline
Ah,
himself.
fuck.
You're not out yet.
Okay. He's fine. He's okay.
No, he's terrible.
He's okay.
Name me one thing he's ever accomplished or done.
He fought Eggman in issue 50, and that was pretty cool. They had the big fight with the different Eggman robots.
Yeah, I liked that. That was one of the only few good things I enjoyed. So here's the problem with Starline. Is that he's a fucking idiot, and I think he might be the dumbest person to ever breathe in all of Sonic. So here's his big plan in the zombie virus arc. So there's this magic conch where if you blow into it, the bad guys won't bash your head in because they're going, ooh, my ears hurt. And he blows into it, and they go, hey, I don't know if you knew this, but when you're not blowing into it, it doesn't hurt our ears. And he goes, what? And he goes, bam! And they smash his face into the ground, and they win. And he goes, oh, how could I have? Oh my gosh, I never thought of that, because he's an idiot. So okay, that's how that happens. All right, cool, whatever. Then in the next arc, his whole plan, he's like, I have captured you, and I have put you into this roller coaster. And it's just like, whoa, he's so cool. And then Omega, they just go, Omega, sick him, and they just knock him off the thing. And then he goes down to the place, into the lodge or whatever, and he's like, I'm gonna fight everybody. And then they kick his ass, and then he leaves. And he's like, but guess what? I got your DNA. Bleh. So again, he looks like a fucking idiot chump. Oh, he hit Shadow with a log. Oh, great. So then there's that. Okay, cool. Then we have Bad Guys. And in Bad Guys, he leaves all of his stuff on his computer, and he sleeps right next to the computer, and people are talking and looking at his stuff on his computer where he makes diaries about how he's going to betray everybody. And he's just like, it doesn't matter. And they break into his computer and they find out everything he's going to do. Fucking idiot. And then he has, obviously, you have to put a passcode and you have to do like a voice demand. Hey, fucking idiot. You have the guy named Mimic who can take on your form and then just do that. You fucking idiot. Also, you're sleeping next to the computer. Wake up! So stupid. So then there's that. So then his big stupid plan is he's just like, I'm going to trick all these people. And at the very end of the thing, he goes into the stupid computer or whatever, and they don't do my good idea, which is to have these characters consolidate because some of these characters can't do anything on their own. But anyway, so they split off, and he's just like, ha ha ha, I'm going to trick all you people. Cool. All right. Then he makes Surgeon Kit, and I don't. So let's think back here. Let's use our brains. So before, we had a device where in a highly specific circumstance, you have to use it to cause pain to a person's brain. But it's not like an EMP. It's not like an instant win. It's not like a bomb. It's not like a big thing. It's like on your hand where someone could go, ooh, I don't like your hand. They slap it and it doesn't work. So he's just like, Surge. Which, by the way, again, he keeps all his stupid files. He should have learned this. He keeps all his files on his computer, and they just log in, and they can just find all of them because he's an idiot. Okay, so he does that. Then they come over to him, and he's just like, you found out about my stuff. Well, guess what? I've got the magic conch, but it's in my glove now. And then he uses it, and they go, hey, I'm fast. And they go behind him. They go, bam! And he goes, what? What do you? Oh my gosh! What do you mean that this tiny little handheld device, if I can't hit you with it in a very specific way, you can just beat me up? Ah! So they do that, and then they take him, and then they brainwash him, and I'm like, no, there's no way. There's no way he did the exact same thing again. No. There's absolutely no way. Wait a sec. I'm gonna give him credit. What it's gonna be is that it didn't actually work. And he remembers, and he's going to betray them. No, they just completely beat him. So when Flynn says, because Flynn said, like, oh, imposter syndrome was his rise to power, he lost his rise to power by issue 3! Issue 3! He lost. He doesn't know what's happening. He's already lost. And then what's his plan? What's his big master plan? At the very end, he has a panic attack where he's like, oh my gosh, I had this all planned out. How did it fail? What was his big plan? What was his big plan? I ask you. He has a USB drive, and he has 2 mooks, and they rush into Eggman's base, and then they just fight Metal Sonic, and he walks into a room, and he plugs into the computer, and he's won! What? That's your big plan? Are you... No. And then what happens? Someone with a fucking brain comes in, which I don't even buy. I don't even buy that Eggman has a brain in this version because he's made stupid decisions this entire time. But whatever, he's smart now. He comes in and he goes, ha ha ha, I've played Sonic Heroes. I know you're such a fucking fanboy that you'll use your stupid team attack and destroy the robot, and then I'll just slam you into the ground. He goes, no, my genius plan to bum rush a base and plug in a flash drive. It didn't work. No. He's so stupid, and I've never once felt threatened by him once. He is a complete incompetent idiot. He has no character arc, nothing to him. I hope he stays dead. And if he comes back, I hope the joke is he comes back and he goes, I'm evil, and then someone steps on him and he fucking dies. The end. That's my rant.
I'm fucking crying.
Dude, man, I can't top that.
Thanks for watching, everybody. That was Sonic Comic Chaos for you.
No, we're not done yet. Oh my god.
How do you make a character that stupid? Anyway, go on.
I think Starline's okay. I think he is dumb as a sack of rocks. But
why is he evil? Why does he like Dr. Eggman? They never explain this.
Because
literally the only reason we have is from an interview with Flynn where he's like, yeah, he's gay for Eggman.
Well, yeah, that was you didn't need an interview for that.
That's it. He's just into Eggman. Why? Who cares?
How could you not be? Look at him.
I'm done. Sorry. Oh, he's so bad. I was waiting every issue. I'm just like, but why? Why are you like this? Eggman's just evil. I get it. He's a megalomaniac. What is your deal? What is your problem? Why do you like Eggman? How could you possibly like Eggman? He wants to kill everybody. What do you mean? What do you like about him? What do you think?
He's just so dreamy, man. You don't get it?
Okay. Glad I got that out of my system. That's been inside me for years now.
I think I realized the real reason you were so adamant about us doing this. It's so you could use it as therapy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, holy
I apologize
shit.
for anyone's eardrums. I hope I didn't peak the mic, but my mic's pretty good, so I hope it's okay.
Yeah, I didn't notice any problems on my end.
I'm out of breath. It made me so mad. I hate him so much.
This is amazing. So yeah, that's that. I feel like one last like minor thing I wanted to talk about. So we have this bit in the Deadly Six arc, right? Where you have that horrible bit between Xena and Zik I talked about, where Zik is like, yeah, people here, they're just all good and they don't like hurt each other or anything. And then like mere issues later, you have the scene where like the power goes out in this city and there are just people in the streets fucking fighting each other. Like like, so clearly the people of this world aren't that great. Like they aren't that much better than they are in our world. Like I don't know. But so in summary, I mean, Ian, you got anything else you want to say about
No,
IDW?
I have nothing left in me.
You have nothing. Was that rant about Starline was your team blast. You gotta
That was
recharge.
my team blast, and I can't defeat you now, Ace. If you wanted to get rid of me, now's the time.
Oh, that's good. I need to find a new person willing to talk about Sonic comics with me, and I don't want to hold auditions. It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, in summary, you know, so with Archie Sonic, right? Even with the worst of that, it was still fun to read. You know, like Dr. Robotnik creates a robot that's a cross between Todd McFarlane's Spawn and a lawnmower called the Spawn Mower. And like, or you have an entire issue that they just did backwards just because, or you have Sonic having like a weird trippy dream, or you have the Ian, you would know more than I. You have them getting kidnapped by aliens, and then they get turned into robots or people, but then it's fun. Like, it's at least fun. If it's not good, it's fun to make fun of.
Yeah.
This comic is so soulless. Like, and I feel awful saying that because I know there are people involved in this. Evan Stanley, obviously lifelong Sonic fan. Gigi, however you say the last part of her name, she's involved in it. She loves Sonic. I know the people involved in this love Sonic, and I know that at the end of the day, a lot of them are probably trying their best and trying to work within what they're being given. And so I hate that I don't love this comic, specifically just for them.
But for the art. The art's so good.
The art is wonderful. The one just real kudos I can give this book is that the art is wonderful. But it's just not good. There's a reason I stopped reviewing this, and it's because there isn't we've been talking for an hour and a half now, but we've been talking for an hour and a half about the book in general. There is, but with any given issue or even any given arc, there's really not much to say. And it's just, I'm disappointed. I'm not mad. Ian, you're very clearly mad. I'm not mad.
Well, I'm comedically mad. I don't care anymore. I've got it out of my system.
Yeah, but I'm disappointed. That's really where it comes from. I'm disappointed. And look, there are people out there, and if you love IDW Sonic, first of all, I'm very surprised you made it this far. But second of all, I'm glad you have this book, and I'm glad you like it. But for me,
even though I want to, I'll never be able to take it away from you.
Yeah, but God damn it, Ian. We need a goddamn it Ian counter for the podcast, because I know I've probably said it at least 10 times across our just barely 10 episodes. But you do. But so I guess at the end of the day, we have our Sonic, we have Archie, and that's never coming back. But we have other stuff. We Sonic fans are massively creative. There's Archie Sonic Online, which I really love. You have like I said, you have Ghost of the Future written by Evan Stanley. You have good story-driven, character-driven Sonic stuff. And, fuck what we say. Who cares? Just enjoy your comic. And, I probably won't keep reading after this. I caught up for this episode. I don't know if I'm gonna keep reading. But, Ian, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, overall with IDW, I think the big thing for me is just a lot of it feels like having the characters kind of for the main characters, again, who we've talked very little about except for Sonic, they just kind of exist and they kind of just do their thing. And I think most of the time Flynn and Stanley can more or less do that. I think Stanley's a little worse at it, just mostly because I don't think she has the wits that Flynn kind of gives the characters. I kind of notice more that her stuff is more fluffy and fun in that way. Whereas I kind of like more of the dry wit that Flynn often gives a lot of these characters. And that's just a taste thing. But then otherwise, with the OCs, that's where I think a lot of the ambition is. And I just think that a lot of times the story doesn't have the patience to kind of let these character flaws come out in a way that would be entertaining, or to kind of give these characters their due. It kind of seems like it's with Starline especially, it feels like it's kind of wallowing in his character flaw without actually giving him moments to be competent, to be cool, or to be around and kind of be a threat. with Zavok and them. It seems like it's so strict with this idea of wanting these characters to be their thing, like Rough and Tumble to be their thing, that it's not willing to kind of expand and build. And I think that's ultimately what I don't like about this comic, is it just feels very flat. We've reached issue 50, and it really doesn't feel like anything in the world has changed or anything has happened, really. Or even like the characters have developed, and they don't even need to develop. It just doesn't feel like much has really happened at all. And I don't know perfectly what's causing that, but I definitely think it has to do with the fact that if it's a story, you want there to be a world worth saving. And if it's not about the world, then it needs to be about the characters. And I feel like a lot of these characters fall flat in that aspect. So there's just, beyond all the theatrics or whatever, I do very much dislike the comic, but for the most part, it's not because I ever loved it in the first place. It's just mostly because when I look at it, I just see a lot of ideas and potential. And I'm just like, well, why wouldn't you just do the obvious thing? And instead, it seems like the comic's constantly undercutting itself. So, yeah, ultimately, I think that's where I stand. The fact that Starline could even potentially be dead, which I know Flynn had kind of intended. He said that maybe not him be dead, but his story was finished. Whatever he wanted to tell about Starline is finished. And that's kind of how I feel about a lot of these characters. Of like, I feel like at a certain point, their stories were finished. And I'm like, we're only 50 issues in, and what they've accomplished is very little. And what it's meant to anything has meant very little. So ultimately, I hope with Evan Stanley, I hope she can kind of pick a direction that she really wants to go in, and kind of, she's already kind of tried to do these kind of slice of lifey stories, and I just don't think they've worked out very well. Like with the camp arc, felt very kind of meandering, and I don't think the charm is there. So I just hope that going forward, she takes a very ambitious route and tries to come up with some really big and crazy cool ideas. So I'll still be reading the comic. I always enjoy having discussions with my friends about it. And, don't listen to Silver Ace. It may be his channel, but I'll drag him back through at some point. Just give it another 25 issues. So,
no!
So overall, don't like IDW, but I wish it the best. And if you like it, don't just be like, it's just my opinion. Tell me why I'm wrong. I would like to know why people like it, because I'm genuinely interested. Because for the most part, I don't get it. So if you do like IDW, please comment down below so that I can at least see where someone's perspective is coming from. Because for me, the most frustrating thing about IDW is I look at it and I say, who would like this? And I know there's a lot of people who like it. So if you are one of those people, please try to convey that to me. But yeah, that's all I got.
Before we sign off, Ian, we had a bit at the beginning, so you didn't really get to plug your channel. You wanna do that real quick?
Yeah, I'm IanWaffles. You can find me on Twitter and YouTube. Currently, I'm making these videos about Kingdom Hearts 2 and how they handle Disney and Final Fantasy. So if any of that interests you, you can check that out. And then otherwise, I have some videos about My Hero Academia, Love Chunibyo, Nether Delusions, K-On!, The Ghost and Molly McGee, and just pretty much anything I want to talk about. But I don't post too often. You'll more often than not find me here than on my own channel. But hey, if you want to subscribe, if you want to check it out, please do. And if you do watch my videos, definitely comment. That's the only thing I really care about more than views or likes is comments. So please comment on this. Please comment on this video. Comment on Silver Ace's videos going forward, and look forward to all the great stuff he has coming.
Yes. Like I said, you can find me here. This podcast is largely the main thing we do on this channel. Normally, we talk about the Archie Sonic arcs. When we come back, we actually have a bit of a weird thing. So the next major arc we had for Archie Sonic was Worlds Unite. But before that, we have like a one-off issue of the main book and a one-off issue of Sonic Universe. So Ian, do you think is there enough content in there for us to do a whole episode devoted to that?
Oh, definitely not. So we'll just like add something to it.
Yeah, we'll figure something. Oh, you know what? The origins, the free comic book day origins that we never talked about.
Oh yeah, sure. Why not?
We'll squish them together. We'll do the origins, and we'll do the one-off issue, and we'll do issue 75 of Sonic Universe all in one episode.
All right, cool.
All right. So come back next time for that. Real quick though, before we go, Ian, Hydrocity or Hydro City?
Hydrocity. It sounds cooler.
Thank you. Okay, someone with taste finally. All right. Well, bye everyone.
Bye.